What is up, guys? What is up, guys? At DFS Jimmy here. Let's see, I'll give everyone a few minutes to get in and get settled. But welcome to the channel. Welcome to Lucky 13 Sports. First time broadcasting here. Normal co-host Matt is on a little bit of a vacation, so the Bogey Free podcast went solo this week, and so I decided to put my own thing out there this week as well. So I am going to break down the Greenbrier for you. Hopefully you guys have already checked out my course preview video for Fanshare Sports. If you haven't, you should definitely get over to their YouTube page, check out my course preview video, give it a like. It'd be much appreciated. But we'll get right into it here in just a second. Forgive me, I'm going to attempt to operate all this stuff without screwing anything up. So, welcome. This week it is the Greenbrier Classic for DraftKings contests, and that is primarily what we're going to be covering here, DraftKings contests for PGA. Also NFL, when we get into the NFL season, definitely going to be covering some of that as well, week to week. We got a little over 16, 17 weeks of just big NFL contest coming up. But this week it's the Greenbrier. It is a par 70 golf course in the West Virginia hills. Pretty undulating track. Nothing too serious in terms of what the tour expects or what people have come to expect from the tour. It is mildly difficult. Plays just under a shade under par, 1/10 of a stroke under par, but Pretzel Rocks now playing. Oh, okay. Yeah, that is the music you're hearing from Pretzel Rocks. It's copyright free, so you don't get in trouble. Learned that last week from all the people that got banned on Twitch for playing copyrighted music. But anyway, par 70 golf course. It is all about par 4 scoring. Strokes gained off the tee plays well here. The Bombers do have some access to some other holes that maybe the rest of the field does not. And that does give them a leg up both in scoring and in finishing position. But for the most part, guys, in terms of the field, it's really rough this week. And because the course is so accessible for multiple different types of games, you see all kinds of winners at this golf course. And you see a lot of breakthrough performances, a lot of first-timers, a lot of only-time winners on tour here at this event. Really weak field at the top, and again, a playable golf course for virtually anybody on tour. So it really is one of those types of courses that you don't have to be any type of game to succeed here. Guys can get hot and go on runs, and they can certainly, in any type of game on tour, can win at a course like this. It is a resort course on the tougher end of resort courses, but for the most part, it is all about the mid-length par 70 or mid-length par 4s on this par 70 golf course. The par 5s you do have to score on, but they're very manageable again for all types of games. The Bombers can eagle one of them, but again, it's not something I would expect tons of this week. But I guess moving down, we have a weak field, like I mentioned, and I'll get into the pricing here in just a second. But if anybody has any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer everybody as we get going. I'm going to try and get on Twitter here and tweet out a link to everybody so that they can get in here and follow us. All right. I got that tweeted out. So Anyway, let's get into the field, and we'll get into the top end of this field, and it is pretty rough, as I mentioned. At the top, we have Tony Finau once again. He is, I guess it seems to get kind of old with Tony being like a favorite to win a golf tournament, and he just doesn't come through. That said, I mean, it doesn't get any better for Tony than this week. He is certainly all the stars align for Tony coming into this week. With his great play at the U.S. Open, coming in T5, then you look at his course history here, just exceptional. He has like a 13th and then a 7th. All signs point to Tony, having the game to win at a course like this, in a field like this. But being 11-5 is tough to swallow to some degree, and I think for a lot of people, it'll be one of those things that's, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see where his ownership comes in, but for my money, it's difficult to get toward the bottom end of this field to justify rostering Tony Finau when he just has to run away with this golf tournament almost in order to pay off if he's chalky. That said, he absolutely could. So, I'll have some shares of Tony. I'm probably not going to go crazy with him, but it's one of those things that you kind of don't want to miss out on it. I wouldn't bet Tony outright, but for a DraftKings play, I don't think I would fade him completely. Some guys I am fading completely are Bubba Watson and Xander Schauffele. Xander definitely has the pedigree to get it done again here, but you're gonna have to take some stands, and I like the guys around him. But Bubba, this isn't really a Bubba track in my mind, and he's playing exceptional. It's hard to take anything away, but he's got his home here. I think there's a lot of off the course stuff that draws Bubba's time. We said that earlier, with his NBA or his basketball game in Riviera, and he goes out and wins. So, Bubba has been handling the off course stuff really well this year. But for me, I'm gonna have to take stands, and I'm not gonna have any Bubba this week, I don't believe. Same goes for Phil. I'll probably have a very small share of Phil. But for the most part, same thing. This is Phil has a place here. He's got his commercials here. Those are pretty awesome commercials. But Phil is I don't know, man. It's tough for me to get to Phil at his price tag as well. That said, he does have the ability to outscore his DraftKings finishing position. But he hasn't really had the results here, and he doesn't. He just doesn't do it for me at his price tag. So I'm probably not going to have a ton of Phil this week either. The person that I will have a lot of is Russell Henley, and I know I'm not alone in that this week. Henley is going to be incredibly high owned this week, I think. Again, I haven't even looked at ownership. I kind of plan to do that live here on the show to just kind of be fresh with it, but and just be able to react to it. I have my ideas of where things will kind of shake out, but I'll be checking out FanShare live here on the show. So let's see, Henley again. I'm sure he's going to be super chalky, but that's where my money's at this week. He comes in ranked number 1 in all of my blended models, literally all of them. Let's see if I can put those up here on the screen. Look at that. Oh, there we go. Number 1 in all of my blended models is Russell Henley. That is where that's where my computer tells me to go. That is where math and all of my models are telling me to go. So I'm going to have my largest shares of Russell Henley. You can see Tony Finau, my guy right there that we just talked about, number 6. But this is my overall blended model that I run from Fantasy National. I used to do a version of this in my own way that was a lot longer and harder. Fantasy National's tools do make it a bit easier. So this is my blended model. I have these weighted slightly differently, but for the most part it's 20%, and then I split out putting and the approach game. With a little bit lower percentages. Then the rest, I just have these sorted as my overall total rank here. And Russell Henley at the top. Number 2 is Joaquin Niemann. 3 is Garrigus. 4 is T Dunks. Tyler Duncan. Shout out to Pat Mayo. T Dunks is a thing now, apparently. I see it on Twitter all over the place. So congratulations to Pat Mayo. You are a market mover, an influencer, sir. You have coined T Dunks. So a T-Dunks at 7,100 really pops up. Again, Garrigus and T-Dunks are really huge values when you look at the rest of the guys that they pop up around. So I'm going to be taking quite a bit of shares of both of those for where they are. I say quite a bit, probably 15 to 20% of each one of those guys will be in my lineups, and that'll help to get me in to squeeze in stacks of these two. I'm definitely going to have some stacks of Henley and Neiman. No reason for me to get off of Joaquin Neiman. Really liked him last week. Played a lot of him last week. I like him again this week. This is a bit of an easier course. I think it's a course that probably suits his game a bit better. He has the length. He certainly can let it go here a little more than he could last week. Take advantage of some of these areas, much like Tony Finau, Garrigus, some of these other bombers can. But Joaquin Neiman is primed for a breakout. The kid is a stud. He's the real deal. I expect him to be a presence on tour. I don't know how many wins he's going to get, but I do think he has an excellent opportunity to get his first one here. Again, it's more of a gut feeling. I know that I know the stats are impressive for when he makes the cut, but just as equally, Joaquin Niemann's still a very young player. Could go very south. I do expect him to be pretty chalky as well. So if you want to get crazy or maybe contrarian here, contrarian could be balanced this week, just given that I see the top end looks appealing, but when you look at the previous leaderboards for this golf tournament, there's not a lot of top end guys that just are really contending. I mean, there might be one or two, but it's not going to be like last week where you had all the top guys, kind of sandwiched inside of the top 15 there with a shot to make a run on Sunday, right? That's not what we've seen historically at this golf tournament. You see a lot of, like I said, breakthrough performances. You see a lot of, second tier or third tier players rising up and, sort of taking the reins of this golf tournament. That is certainly possible again this year. So if you wanted to get contrarian, possibly you could build a really balanced roster. Again, I think there's merit to fading the top end if you're playing a lot of GPPs or if you're playing significant shares. There's certainly merit to doing that because, we could see all these top end guys, just kind of muddle their way through this golf tournament and end up with just mediocre results. And that's not going to get it done, especially, at high ownership when you're talking about Finau and Henley here. Those guys are probably your chalkiest players. Yeah, I'd imagine they are. Actually, let's jump over to fansharesports.com and actually can't do that. Yeah, let me see if I can do that off camera while I continue to talk. But so a couple of key stats for you guys, for anybody that's wondering. Any of the key stats that I'll be looking at, it is heavily weighted towards greens and regulation. Green and regulation gained, par 4 scoring 400 to 450, and long par 4s 450 and above. That is the bulk of where my targets are when it comes to my key stats. The remainder of it is in bent grass putting and strokes gained off of the tee, and then I try to capture some ball striking stuff. I do look at approach and off the tee independently of each other, and then weight them both in my blended model, and I try to capture the last 8 competitive rounds or 12 competitive rounds the players had. So I don't necessarily do a comp course on the recent off the tee and recent approach. I just want to see who's been better than the field, who's been worse than the field off the tee and approach the last 8, 12 rounds they've all played. And so that's factored into my blended model as well. So if we jump over to Fanshare Sports, I'll take a quick glance at ownership since I'm not going to share their premium content online right now without asking them. But, okay, sign in, there we go. But I expect that Henley and... Henley and Finau are your number 1 and number 2 for the week, folks. Which, again, no surprise. No surprise that those guys are going to be really chalky. I wonder if Finau tapers off a bit as the hype, the hype dies down. Maybe the Tauta meter kind of dies off, and maybe some guys like Neiman and maybe like Ryan Moore come up into focus a little more as chalk plays for the week. But my money is going to be spent on Henley and Neiman. Moving down, let's see, do we have any questions in the chat? No questions in the chat yet. We do have several people watching though, so thank you, appreciate you. Welcome. If you guys do have any questions, type them in the chat, and I will get to them. But moving down, there are guys that are going to play Phil and Bubba, and again, I'm not knocking anybody for playing them. Just not where I'm going to go this week. Also, I believe Phil is Andercursed. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if he's in the field, it's likely that Tim Anderson has got some ridiculous take about how he's going to win a golf tournament. So I suspect that he's probably Andercursed. Actually, I think I saw a tweet from Mayo that he confirming that it was Phil this week. So play Phil at your own risk. Webb is the guy here that could potentially go a little bit lesser owned than Henley, Finau, and those guys that theoretically his game fits the course well. I worry a bit about his putting though, as it seems to have maybe regressed a bit, which I guess is predictable to some degree because just like Keegan and Kuchar and these guys, they don't become world-class putters within a season because they change a grip. It's not a thing that occurs, right? But he does have some really outstanding performances throughout the year. But yeah, he's last two events, Webb has lost strokes on the green, and that's unfortunate. As his ball striking kind of tapered off as well. So I don't know, maybe the time off and a couple of weeks off have done Webb good, but I'm probably not going to have too many shares of a $10,700 Webb either. So again, I think I'm probably going to either eat the chalk in this range or just skip down below it. That's kind of where I'm at. Moving down, Brian Harman's interesting to me, but I don't know. He's got a couple of miscuts at this course, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not really thrilled with his recent play. It's not been bad. It's just he kind of set a standard for himself last year and played well above his grade. I think for a period of time and won on some courses that or won and contended on courses that people didn't really expect him to. But I think he's kind of come back to earth this season with where his game probably is on a year-to-year basis. Maybe a tick up than his average over his career, but I still don't think that I'm gonna play a ton of him with his course history here. Of course, it could bite me, but 9,500. Actually, this range is sort of interesting. This right below Neiman, I'm not thrilled about Charles Howell. I know Matt Jones TFR is definitely involved with Charles Howell. I'm sure some other people will too. Been very consistent and been playing more consistently throughout the year and deeper into the season than he has in the past. No doubt about that. But still not my jam. At least not this week. I think there's just too many other people around him that I want to play, and he's just not doing it for me. He doesn't have great course history here. Et cetera, et cetera. I'd much rather play Jimmy Walker below him. Jimmy Walker is a better player, if maybe less consistent. Certainly has more upside. JB Holmes has been red hot throughout the last 5-6 events. Had a little hiccup last week. I'm not going to read a ton into that. JB's got excellent course history here, and kind of been knocking on the door. I know that some would question his play. His tactics, if you will, down the stretch and as a playing partner. Much like Joel Dahman questioned the tactics and antics of Sun Kang the other day. Apparently, if you didn't see that, you should definitely check out Dahman, manning up and just calling Kang out for what he saw and how it is, man. I wasn't there. I have no idea. But it's hard for me to, I will give my take on it. That's what we do in the tout industry, right? I was not there. I have no idea whether or not Kang was right or wrong or Dahman was right or wrong. But I find it really difficult to believe that somebody would put themselves out there and endure the scrutiny and backlash of you know, golf Twitter and, you know, the visceral reaction that it generates if they were not deeply convicted about their certainty in the matter. Also, they were the only ones in a position to know whether or not that the event took place. So I'm gonna side with Dom in here and just say that you don't put yourself in that position if you are wrong. You know, I think that he definitely has something, you know, some concrete ground to stand on. And again, it's a he said, she said thing. But you know, boo on the PGA Tour yet again for not, you know, taking up a complaint. I don't know. Maybe again, I wasn't there, so I kind of feel like the tour could have maybe done something about that, you know, or found a way to work with Joel instead of, you know, him having to take to Twitter to you know, air his complaints. Both, you know, surely that was not just about Kang; it was about the tour and how they handled it, and it questions the integrity not only of Kang but of the game. You know, if your playing partner can't call you out, then who can? I suspect the tour could probably have handled that better and given Joel a better forum to, you know, to discuss that. So unfortunate. Either way, good on Dahmen for, you know, for having conviction. And if it's true, shitty on Kang, man. Be better, homie. It sucks. So anyway, moving on. Where were we? Let's see. Oh, we're up. We got a few more viewers. Hey, welcome. Other people that have joined. Thank you for joining. This is at DFS Jimmy. First broadcast on Twitch, so you're part of the inaugural broadcast. You should feel special about that. Definitely all four of you that are in here, appreciate you. Thanks. Moving down, Ryan Moore. Listen, Ryan Moore is a really interesting play this week, guys. For that matter, so is Danny Lee. Danny Lee has excellent course history with you know, a bit of form and definitely some course fit to go along with this course history. Danny Lee has been fairly outspoken about what he thinks drives his success at this golf course, and, you know, some things that play into that. But he likes the track. So Danny Lee's really interesting, extremely volatile. Bit me last week. Unfortunately, I thought he was a good course fit for TPC Potomac as well. But I'll probably have a share or two of Danny Lee for the extreme upside that he has, and probably low ownership. Ryan Moore, though, screwed a lot of people at the Travelers, myself included. Very unfortunate. Cost me a lot of 6-6 lineups, did Ryan Moore. I don't know. Hey, viewers here, can somebody type in the chat? Can you guys hear music, or do you not hear music? Is it loud? Is it too loud? Should I turn it up? Should I turn it down? Should I turn it off? Should I change it? Ooh, there's more viewers. More people are coming in here. Oh, my gosh. Welcome. Yeah, Ryan Moore, guys. I think a lot of people are going to be hesitant to roster him on a course that theoretically fits him very well on paper. And his results, despite his miscut at the Travelers, recently have been strong in good fields. It's hard for me to go back to Ryan Moore, just because, again, he cost me quite a bit of money. But just like Danny Lee, I'm going to make sure that I do get him in a bit of a hedged lineup. I feel like it's probably a negative EV play to not roster any of them at all. Again, he lines up very well for this golf course, positive bent putter. And I think people are going to be very hesitant, like myself, to go back to Ryan Moore in GPPs. That said, let me take a quick look at fan share. Ryan Moore may be a little chalkier than I had previously thought, but I don't think he's going to be heavily owned either. So he's not going to be contrarian, but certainly not going to be high enough owned to, I think, to drive people away from rostering him. But I will certainly have a couple of shares, probably pair him with Danny Lee in a balanced lineup, and maybe grab a little Kevin Na as well. I know guys are going to be on Streelman and Bradley. I'm not sure how I feel about Streelman. Just, you know, he seems to have that one good round every tournament, and then just can't put the rest of it together. I don't really know what it is. I mean, you can look at the stats and you can kind of see like where he struggles, but I don't really understand why it's consistent for a round and then you just lose. Like, there's no consistency for 3, but he's got it for 1 or 1.5, right? And I'm just not sure what that is, but you know, could he pop here? Sure. I don't know. I just think that there's going to be a lot of people on him, and I'll probably just be somewhere else because I think the upside's limited with his inability to string together several good days. Keegan Bradley, love the ball striking. Love the ball striking. I mean, how do you not like this? Like the ball striking, the stats guy, right? He's like Luke List. Always pops in the stats models. Just can't putt, but he does like playing up in this area of the country. And Keegan is been playing significantly more consistent this year than he has in years past. Again, it's sort of like Webb, transitioned over with that putting grip, and it's done some wonders for him. So, can he get it done? Can he win? Yeah, he could absolutely win. Is he gonna win? Probably not. Is he going to score a lot? Nah, probably not. Is he going to hang around if it's a low-scoring event? Potentially. I think his upside's like a top 20. I think his downside is certainly a miscut. It is Keegan after all. So I don't think I'm going to be on Keegan a ton. Might have him in a lineup or two. But Brant Snedeker, my guy, I've been playing him a lot lately. I just can't get behind him right now. Not at this event. I think he needs a little bit of time to regroup. I don't know if this is really his spot, and I don't think that he has the upside that I want. So I'm probably going to skip past Brant a little bit this week. My guy though is Anirban Lahiri, and I'm sure I'm not alone in my Lahiri love this week. But Lahiri, I think, sets up just really, really well for this golf tournament. He is currently gaining his strokes off of the tee and has the ability to score really well. I mean, really well. The unfortunate part about that is just as quickly as he scores, he can give them away. The guy is really an impressive individual, actually. Fun fact about Anirban Lahiri. Earlier this year, to improve his chi and his patience and understanding on the golf course and help him deal with the emotional roller coasters of life on tour and the swings of the game, I guess. He spent like a month and a half at like a monastery, right? Didn't say a word. Bro, try going half a day without talking. It's harder than you think, right? So I think Anirban is an interesting fellow, but two, I think he sets up really well for this golf course and has the ability to put together a really strong tournament. Kind of like Billy Horschel, very streaky, but when he pops, he usually pops pretty high. Sticking out in my models, actually, where is Lahiri ranked for me? I've got it written down on a little pen and paper. I think he's ranked number 7. Actually, I'll see if I can put my ranks back up on the board here. Put my ranks back up on the board for everybody. Here we go. Yeah. So, let's see. I've got Lahiri. Lahiri's ranked 6th. I'm sorry. 6th in my total blended model overall is Lahiri this week. So, I'll have plenty of him in this mid $8,000 range. But moving down, let's see. I'll resort this. Moving down past Lahiri, Love Mark, as you see, does not rate very well for me. And to be honest, man, bro, if you did not see, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you need to go look at the scorecard for Jamie Lovemark last week. I'm not sure what happened, but he went full on Jean-Claude Van de Velde for 2 holes. If you don't know who Jean-Claude Van de Velde is, you should Google that as well, because that is an epic meltdown in golf. But Jamie Lovemark had, I don't even know what he had, but I'm sure it was difficult. I'm sure it was painful, and I feel bad for the guy, dude. I feel bad for him posting these scores, because it had to have been tough. But he fell apart on Sunday. Now, he's either going to bounce back with that in a really strong fashion this week and make me look like a fool, or we see signs of his overly consistent form recently cracking. I'm going to be on the side that he's cracking a little bit, and I'm not going to be on Jamie Lovemark this week. But pretty epic stuff on the back 9 or the final round. I think it was the back 9 of the final round, though. Like a quadruple, triple, or a quintuple, quadruple. It was impressively bad. Sorry, Jamie. Feel for you, man. We've all been there. All of us hackers have put together scores like that. Feel you, man. Brian Gay. A lot of people are going to be on Brian Gay this week, I think. I'm not. Brian Gay's course history is not great here. I'm a big fan of Brian Gay. Brian Gay's a Gator. Brian Gay is a Florida boy. Brian Gay's father owns like the biggest plumbing company in North Florida. Brian Gay, probably a good fellow, but I don't think he's going to keep his run going this week, so I'm going to be off of him. Going to start moving a little bit faster here. Kevin Kisner theoretically fits the course, been playing like garbage, man. Like garbage. Not for me until Kisner gets it back in form. Aaron Wise, listen, man, predicting this kid's like predicting Billy Horschel too. Popped really, really high. Big on putting. Got it done through putting and a really hot driver that week. Cool. Really, really streaky. Otherwise, missed a string of cuts after his win. Not for me. Ryan Blom does not rate out well for me, but does pique my interest this week. A steady golfer. Gives himself a lot of opportunities. Big green and regulation guy. Hot putter. Do I think he can win? I don't know. But could he put together a top 10 this week? Absolutely. I'll have some Blom this week. Andrew Putnam, been playing hot, gaining strokes off of the tee. That's why he's popping up in this model here, in my blended model. I like him. I'll probably have a few shares. Patrick Rogers, not for me. Ryan Armour, you see the number 7 rank. Like Ryan Armour, really consistent guy, can get it done on tour. We know he can win. I'm going to take some shares. Kevin Chappell, Ollie Schneider, Jansen, Sure, if you want to play him, go for it. Is there potential? Absolutely. Am I going to do it? I don't think so. Ted Potter Jr., you see the number 8 there. TPJ. TPJ is my guy. I've been playing TPJ in several different places. If you ask Matt, he thinks I probably talk about him too much. But I think a lot of people are going to be talking about TPJ this week. As a matter of fact, a lot of people have talked about him. I think Matt even mentioned him. So I'm not going to not play him. That's for sure. I don't think he's going to get too chalky that I'm going to get kind of pushed away. He has great course history here, pretty consistent, especially for a golfer of his caliber. Very consistent. Interesting about Ted Potter Jr. Actually, I think he's the dude. I think it's the dude. He stepped off a curb and just destroyed his ankle walking home from dinner one night on tour, up in Canada. Actually, slipped on some ice or something. Just bad. Anyway. Good to see him making a comeback. Austin Cook, congratulations, Austin Cook, expecting a baby. We saw on Twitter today. Nappy factor incoming for Austin Cook. Certainly has the talent. Not sure if this course is the fit for him this week, but big things happening for Austin Cook. Look out for the nappy factor on call. Joel Dahman, just talked about him, calling out Sun Kang. Sun Kang incidentally withdrew from this event after that incident, while I'm sure that it also had to do with Sun Kang also qualifying for the Open Championship. He'll probably get to work on preparing for that. So not sure if the two are correlated, but interesting to note. Dahman is been playing some really consistent golf. His caddy's actually a really funny follow on Twitter. You should check him out. But Dahman is a gritty kid. I've been playing him in DFS and betting him since he joined the tour, and I'll probably continue to do so here this week. Spawn rates really highly for me here. Interesting. It's he's been gaining strokes off of the tee again, and the last times he started to gain strokes off of the tee, his putter fell in behind him, and we saw him produce some really strong results. Been playing fairly consistent. I say fairly consistent. Let's not kid ourselves. He's had some really streaky events and had a string of bad events, but the last couple have been tolerable, and I think this is a spot where Spawn could pop. Again, folks, this is a bad field, right? This is a bad field. There is not a lot of talent. Brandon Hagee has withdrawn, by the way, folks. That wrist injury is still bothering him, it looks like. But this is a bad field. Do not play the guys you want to play, and I think if you find a reason, there's something to latch onto with a guy that you like, you should definitely go for it. There's a lot of variance in golf normally, and there is way more variance in this field than normal. This might be the weakest field we see all year, actually. Sans your secondary events and such. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to stick with my ranks this week, and I'm going to play guys that are hot for me, that are popping in my models. But you should play guys that you have conviction about. And don't let people talk you off of them. This is the week where your conviction guy at 7,300 can win a golf tournament. Legitimately, we could see a 100-1, 200-1 guy win a golf tournament here this week. So don't let people talk you off something you believe in either, myself included. So I'm guilty of getting away from my research and my convictions by the time Thursday morning rolls around, right? So. But anyway, moving down. Any questions? Any questions in the chat? Let me know. If you guys have any questions, put them in the chat, and I will do my best to get out to them. Actually, I'm sure I will get to them. So, if you got any questions, want my opinion, my take, want me to look up some stats, let me know. I have several resources I can tap into for you, and I will certainly give them credit where credit is due. But depending on what you want looked up, I will do that for you as well. Moving down, some guys that are interesting. Abraham Answer, great performance last week. Really class by him, and certainly the best of his career on tour to date. Gaining his strokes off of the tee right now, which is encouraging. But it took him longer to fade than I expected, but ultimately he faded, and I think that despite being highly ranked for me, I think this is one of the guys that I'm going to kind of ignore my rankings on and take some lesser shares or potentially fade outright if he gets chalky, but I think just take some lesser shares of, and I'll probably like Wagner a little more, and my guy CT Pan. Again, CT Pan, much like Joel Dahman, since he came on tour, the Taiwan bomb, man. I've been betting this guy, been playing this guy. Really good on par 70s, another, all-around type of guy that can get it done, can go 3, 4, 5 under a day, put 3 or 4 good rounds together, and find himself there on a Sunday. Bit volatile, snapped a driver last week after he missed a couple of fairways, and then coincidentally went like 9 of 10 fairways after that with his 3-wood, and put a nice round up there. So he full on tin cupped it, and parred him with a 7-iron. You ever par him with a 7-iron, David? Great movie if you haven't seen it. Then again, if you were one of the 4 people in here watching this podcast, you have certainly seen Tin Cup. If you haven't, shame on you. JT Pastone. I don't know how to say the guy's name. Poston is what I say, but really interesting stat I saw by @Jude_UT4, I think. Jude Deloy, man, great follow on Twitter. You should definitely follow this guy on Twitter. Oh, he has an extensive database of stats, and he always pulls out some great nuggets each week. And JT Poston was one of them. Picking up strokes, birdie or better, picking up strokes off the tee. Great par 4 scoring recently, and just has not made a putt to save his life. Another really talented kid that has the ability to finish really high on a Sunday and or win from this range. So despite being a bit low ranked in my rankings, I will be taking some shares of him. We already talked about T-Dunks, Tyler Duncan, ranked really highly. Brandon Harkins, man. This guy, super talented kid. I think he forgot how to putt. I don't know. I don't really know what happened. Actually, let me look up what happened with this kid, because Brandon Harkins is again, he's rating really well, but he nearly won like 2 golf tournaments and then fell off the face of the earth. Yeah, so he picked up a whole bunch of oh my god, last week he picked up 5-6 strokes off the tee and on approach, and then just didn't make a putt or get anything around the green. And then the week before, picking up strokes off the tee. Yeah, I like Brandon Harkins. The guy has the ability. Yeah, like it's that when he popped in a couple of tournaments, he was picking up all of the strokes off of with his putter 4.6 and 3.5 for a couple of events, and then 3.5 last week. Yeah, if he puts it all together this week, Brandon Harkins, you could see on the top of a leaderboard. Sunday. So I'll certainly be taking some shares of him, and my blended model likes him as well. And like I said, I'm going to try and do what my blended model says. So in this range, this is where I'm going to concentrate my ownership as well as with JT Pastone. Moving down, Furyk's interesting here. Not sure how much Furyk I'm going to have. I think he's worth considering. I think he gets you a made cut, and that's probably about it. But he is a guy that's going to give himself a lot of opportunities, and opportunities can lead to birdies on this golf course. Very, very plain and simple. So his game has shown that he's kind of getting back a little bit. Again, I'm not going to get too fired up about Jim Furyk, but some opportunity. A lot of people, I think, are going to be with this Bronson Burgoon kid. I don't know. Sure. I'm just probably not. I don't know, man. I don't want to play anybody down here, to be honest with you. Like, does anybody want to play anybody down here? Like Robert Garris. It's like the only guy I really want to play down here. Look at that, number 3. How does he get ranked number 3? Like I'm skipping over everybody to get to Garrigus. It feels like this week. So I'm not sure. I haven't put any time. Scott Stallings pops in my model, and I've heard a couple of other people mention him. He had a good result here previous. Sure, I can see playing him, but again, I'm going to concentrate my player pool this week. I'm probably not going to go crazy in the big $5 man. It's just so top heavy. I wish they'd flatten that one out a little bit. I like having the big $5 GPP, but DraftKings, if you're listening, hey, thank you for the big GPP. Much appreciated. Love it. But can we flatten it out a little bit? It doesn't need to be 100K at the top, man. People are still going to MME that thing for like 50, 75. 75 would be perfect. 75 would be perfect. And then flatten out the top 10, the top 15, top 20. And I think that you would have just as much action. It'd probably even feel faster. And I think overall the game quality would be better. People would enjoy it better. Anyway, I'm probably not going to go crazy in that GPP this week. Instead, I'm gonna fire a few bullets in the $44, and I think I max entered the $1, which is already filled, by the way. But yeah, I think that's where I'll go this week. I might end up putting a few more in the $44 if I get crazy. Maybe have a few too many of these tonight, and I might end up with an extra lineup or two in there, but. I'm really trying to concentrate my pool this week, and I think you should as well. Anytime you find yourself in these extremely high variance fields, I think it pays dividends to concentrate your player pool. Because when you hit, you have the opportunity. You really give yourself an opportunity to take down these extremely top-heavy GPPs, right? And I mean, if the way I look at it is, I'm playing for first, and if I lose all my money, that's fine. But I really want to give myself an opportunity, so I'm really concentrating my ownerships this week and hoping that I can get a hit. So, and I suggest you do the same. Again, you don't have to take my advice. What do I know? But I would. Steve Marino pops in my blended model. It's interesting. I'm not sure how much Steve Marino I want to have. I haven't really looked into why he might be popping up here. Let's see. Why does Steve Marino pop up? Steve Marino pops up in our off the tee, and ball striking. Decent at mid-range par fours. Interesting that Steve Marino seems to be driving the ball with some confidence here. Sure, if I find myself down here. Played J.J. Henry last week. Missed the cut, unfortunately. Mentioned him on the podcast. Still don't feel bad about that play. Again, you're just, you're looking for opportunity. J.J. Henry gave himself plenty. Just, he can't putt. And he can't putt normally. And he didn't putt last week either. Watch him make the cut this week. But I don't know. Steve Marino, sure. If you guys want to play him, if you trust my model that I've put together, then Steve Marino could be a play down here for a made cut. Baudo, what's up, man? If you're listening, if you ever check this out, man, I'm sending you good vibes, bro. Want to see you make the cut this week. Hope the baby's doing well. Either way, man. Definitely hope to see Baudo make the cut. Would love to see him start playing well. Has played well at this golf course before. Could see him make a cut this week. That would be awesome. I'd make my whole 4th of July weekend, man. I don't know about you guys, but if you don't know Baudo, you should check him out. He's a good dude, man. Good dude. I'm scrolling through here. I saw, who's the guy I saw on Twitter? There he is. Norman Zhang. I don't know anything about this kid other than I've heard 2 people that I think are intelligent people say that I should pay attention to him. I'm sure that he's a web.com dude. Let's see. Norman Zhang. There we go. American professional golfer. Chinese American. Born in 1998. 19 years old. 185 pounds. Went to Oregon. His official Wikipedia page, folks. We're all going to learn about Norman Zhang together. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his last name. If anybody wants to correct me, that would be fine. Savannah, can you confirm that the top 4 get into the Open? I believe that's correct. I'll tell you what, I'll go to the official PGA Tour media page for you right now, and we will check out what they have to say about that. I believe that's correct, but I do not actually know how many of the players get in. Let's see if the official press release will tell us if it is top 4 or not. And Savannah already knows more about Norman Zhang than I do, apparently. He's an amateur turning pro. Just looking for motivation this week. Hey, I'm all about motivation. Listen, guys can break out at this tournament, and there's no reason some amateur turning pro couldn't do it. Again, I don't know much about him, but if there was an event or a course that allows that to happen with not a lot of people at the top, and I mean, who's anybody really afraid of in this field, right? Like, no one's afraid of Tony Finau, right? Nobody is afraid of staring down Tony Finau. Like, Phil's probably the most intimidating player here, and really they're not worried about him winning. They're worried about him fleecing them for like $4,000 on Tuesday. So who knows? Let's see. Oh, weather. Yeah, I haven't gotten to the weather yet. Savannah's like ahead of me. She's like reading my show notes for me, and she's like ahead of me. I assume Savannah is a she. Savannah could be a he, because that could be like where he lives. I don't know. Savannah, are you a he, she? Either way, thanks for being here. Thanks for participating. Let's see. It does not say a whole lot about the Open right now. There we go. We've got it. 4 spots. So you are correct. Yeah. Yeah, so the top 4 are going to get in, and it looks like the John Deere Classic gets 1 spot. So, yeah, Savannah, it's 1. There we go. See? Either way, man. Hey, congrats. Awesome name for your daughter, by the way. All right. Yeah, but official. 4 spots do get in to the Open, and then at the John Deere, you got the winner getting in. So, let's see, where were we? We were pretty close to the bottom of the field, but let's take a quick look at weather. So windfinder.com. If you're not using Windfinder, guys, I suggest it. I found it to be the most accurate. Some people say I'm wrong. I would say some people are wrong. So Windfinder is what I use. I've found it to be the most user-friendly, the most accurate. I'm sure there's other great ones out there. Weather Underground's good for historical weather, if you care about that. Let's see if they have their own weather station at the Greenbrier. They probably do. Look at that. All right. Windfinder. Wow. Friday looks like a deluge. Awesome stuff, folks. If you're not checking this out, Friday, underwater, people. Oh, man. Awesome. Awesome. So, definitely weather splits are going to come into play. I haven't looked at tee times yet. Good Lord. Yeah, just we're going to have to follow the weather on this one for sure. Let's see if Super Forecast gives us anything yet. It's probably too far out. Yeah, too far out. Oh, yeah, we'll need one more day. We can get the Super Forecast, but that is that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough, man. I don't really know what to say about Friday. Could just be rained out. I mean, it's one of those, who knows. I mean, you can try stacking some tee times, but it just depends if the weather moves through sooner or later, or you're just gonna have to keep your eye on it. really, to find out. But if we do end up with some splits, it looks like the worst of the weather comes in the afternoon. So that's going to make your PM AM guys, they're going to be at a premium if they do end up playing through that stuff. So the PM AM split could be where it's at. The Thursday PM, Friday AM guys could be the the optimal strategy or the optimal stack. Let's see. Savannah, Thursday afternoon tee times. Who tees off in the back nine, 2 par 5s. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at that. Let's get so Thursday afternoon. Let's see if I can zoom in on this for everybody. Boom, there we go. So we got the Thursday afternoon tee times. Looks like we're going to have some Scott Brown, Tom Hoagie, Brzezinski. Let's see. Let's talk about the people that matter. Okay, afternoon tee times that matter, guys. You might want to be stacking. You got Putnam, Lee, Joaquin Neiman, my guy. There we go. You got X-Man, Austin Cook, Bubba, Ted Potter Jr. Bubba and Ted Potter Jr. Interesting. Patton Kazire. Boy, what happened to Patton Kazire, man? Can anybody tell me, like, what happened to Patton Kazire? That dude should have won on tour already. Oh, man. Tough to see. Would love to see Patton Kazire start to play better again. Ted Potter Jr., Keegan, Ollie, Harold Varner, all in the afternoon. Joel Dahman. Norman Zing Zhao from Canyon Lake, California, man. Hot young kid, apparently. Again, don't know a ton about him, but some say he is the second coming of Tiger. Actually, I'm not sure if anybody said that, but he could be. I don't know. But if there's an event, man, this would be the one. That looks like it for the, let's see. Oh, no, more of the afternoon. So we got Honor Bond. There we go. Boy, my guys are in the afternoon so far. I like this if this shakes out to work. You got Finau, Harmon, Webb Simpson, Ryan Armour, Jimmy Walker, David Lingmerth. David Lingmerth, interesting course history play. Been playing a little better recently, by the way. Maybe a GPP guy to plug in there. Catch a few people off guard. T-Dunks, oh, man. Tyler Duncan in the afternoon, too. Good Lord, all of my guys are on this split. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Ryan Blom, CT Pan in the PM AM group. JB Holmes, Phil Kisner, Snedeker, all in the PM AM. Wow. All of my guys in this afternoon, I'm either going to go down. It's going to be like really good or really bad. Oh, my gosh. Robert Garrigus in the afternoon. All of my guys. I think I was going to have this afternoon's wave anyway. Man, who else matters down here in the afternoon? Russell Henley. Oh, my gosh, man. Henley's in the afternoon. Jamie Lovemark, Rory Sabatini, Brandon Harkins in the afternoon on Thursday. And that's it. Let's read off some of the AM PM guys to see who is currently on the wrong side of the weather draw if the current forecast holds, which it's almost guaranteed not to. I'm sure Savannah seems like a weather guru, man. All right, Savannah says definitely Thursday afternoon, so I'm rolling with Savannah here as well, and I'm gonna be on this PM AM stack for sure. Most of my guys that I've talked about are there. Some guys in the morning that are currently on the wrong side. JJ Spawn, Seamus Power, Steve Marino on the wrong side of the draw. Ryan Moore, Brian Gay, Brandon Haggy, who, again, I thought I had seen that he had withdrawn. Maybe he is still in. At least they haven't adjusted him on this sheet. Baudo, Streelman, Bill Haas. Bill Haas is interesting as well. A lot of good course history here, but really struggling with just a lot of mediocre results lately. I'm not sure I can get behind Haas again this week, but would not be surprised if Haas found his way onto a weekend leaderboard at all. Oh, my bad, guys. The first bunch of names I read are in the morning. So Neiman is in the morning, Putnam, Lee in the morning, Furyk, Cook, Xander, Bubba, Ted Potter, Ollie Keegan. Those guys are in the morning. Norman Zhao in the morning. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't scroll down far enough the first time. But still, most of my guys are in the afternoon. Lahiri, Tyler Duncan, Poston, Armour. Gosh, yeah. I'll be heavy on this afternoon wave. I'll be there with Savannah for sure. Oh, Savannah is going like next level meta game here on me. Look at who starts on the back nine since they get 2 par 5s also on Thursday afternoon. Man, that is some next level shit right here. If I win a GPP because my guy started on the back nine on Thursday afternoon or Friday, yeah, Savannah, I'm going to send you something, man. Let's see. So, round 2 a.m. So we want the back nine, only 2 par 5s. Hey, man, I know there's only 2. Listen, I'm saying it's next level stuff, bro. I like it. Who starts on the back nine since they get 2 par 5s on Thursday afternoon? So Thursday afternoon, back nine. So we want them to be Friday morning so we know they're going to get them in. So Friday morning, back nine. Round 1. So Thursday morning, back nine is going to be Garrigus, Connors, Mullinax, Harris English, Chappell, Bryan, Henley, Lovemark, Kokrak, Stallings, Harkins. Those are your guys that are on the back nine Thursday morning. So the guys that would start on or Thursday afternoon. So the guys that would start on the back nine Friday morning when all the rain is supposed to come in. Or it's raining on Thursday or Friday. Stroud. So Savannah says Stroud. We can check out Stroud. I like Stroud. I've written him up several times this year. Been playing a lot better recently. Good par 4 scorer. He just has to put it all together. But again, this course, unique to the tour, can certainly lend itself to any type of game getting it done. So the guys that play early on Friday for the back nine are going to be Lahiri, Duncan, Poston, Walker, Armour, Lingmerth, Mitchell. Keith Mitchell's another one that's certainly in play for GPPs this week. Simpson, Harmon, Finau, Snedeker. Those are all guys that are going to be on the back nine on Friday morning. Wagner, Holmes on that list as well. Blom, Pan. Chase Sifriat, or Seifert. I'm not going to play him, but that guy's popped up in a couple of tournaments. Good Web.com kid. This is the tournament where like Web.com guys could just pop up out of nowhere. He's one of them. Might not be awful. Stroud's history. I have not looked at Stroud's history. Let's do that right now. Chris Stroud. Chris Stroud's history. Chris Stroud has a great history here in the last 5 years. T20, 37th, and a 4th, and a cut, and a miscut. It's good stuff by Stroud. Like I said, I like him. I haven't really considered him for this field, but maybe I should. Positive bent putter. Played well last week. Sure. I could be down with a share to a Stroud. I don't think I'm going to play a ton of Stroud, but definitely some reasons to play him. Yeah, DraftKings still has Haggy listed as out for this week. So the PGA Tour just must not have adjusted him on their page yet. Bro, Savannah, I'm gonna have to put a Thursday PM stack with Stroud in it for you in one of my $1 this week, dude. I'm gonna do it for karma. Definitely gonna do it. Actually, we'll build one. Let's see. What else we got going, man? Anybody else got anything? What else we got? We need some hot takes. I got takes from the top. Anybody missed the top end? I can give my take on that. Other than that, man, you kind of saw my ranks. You know where I'm at. You know where my guys are, who I'm going to be on this week. Across the industry, I know that Matt Jones is on Charles Howell up here, and he's going to be on Finau up here. But I don't know. Howell's not for me, man. I don't think so. Nah. No, it's Henley and it's Neiman up here for me. Harmon's sort of your wild card, but again, I'm not there. Oh, see, Savannah and I are on the same page. Fade and Howl. I'm down, bro. I'm 100% fade. You won't see a Howl lineup in my thing at all. Sorry, Matt. Sorry, at Matt Jones TFR. No Howl for me, man. Neiman did have an insane round 4 last week, didn't he? It was actually really heartening to see because man, if you read my stuff from last week, I was high on Neiman, knowing full well the risk that went into it. Neiman is just such a talented kid, man. I mean, when he is on, it's impressive to watch. So I was big on Neiman last week, and I was really glad he salvaged what was otherwise a pretty mediocre week with an awesome Sunday. What was it, like a 65? It was a 65. Sunday 65 when that course toughened up. Dude, him and Molinari, man, those Sunday rounds were just awesome to watch, man. Molinari, my God. Props again to Molinari. It's still hard to contextualize how dominant that performance was just in all facets of the game. Like 1, 2, 3, just lining them up, knocking them down, man, just crushing it. Awesome stuff last week, Molinari. So, yeah, man, Neiman's my guy this week. I think this could be the spot for him to notch a tour victory and launch his career. Very much possible. I'm probably gonna have a lot of Henley stacks, Henley Neiman stacks, and you can see you can do a Henley Neiman stack, and you got 74, 75 left. So you could certainly do it. It's interesting. Like I think I'm gonna probably not be on a ton of these guys in the upper 8s, lower 9s for that reason, because I find it hard to get to them, right? Because I'm trying to grab Henley and Neiman. But the other interesting stack to me is doing Neiman and Holmes, and you're out of the 10K range altogether, so you fade the top 6 guys, and then you end up with 78. And if you believe in a Garrigus, and I know I'm not allowed to build a whole lineup, so DraftKings, I'm not building a whole lineup, chill out. But it leaves you with 8166, right? So you got a lot of room to work with in 8166 when you get down through here. And you got a lot of plays a little above it, a little below it that you can plug in here. You got Spawn at 74. You got Domin at 75. You got Potter at 76. And then you move up a little bit, and you're still under what you're asking, right? Then you still got Armour, Ollie at Chapel. Some people are going to be on that. And then Blom. And then you get to where it's asking you 8,081. And you're right here, right? So there's a lot of opportunity you can still go above it. You could even go above and grab another guy in the upper 8s if you wanted to. I mean, you could even grab Ryan Moore, and you still got 78, right? If you find a guy in this low, below 7 or right at $7,000 range, and you have confidence in him this week, for me, it's going to be Duncan and Garrigus for sure. But if you have this core, if that's your core, you can make some nasty lineups here with 8,700 because you can go grab a guy just a little up, grab you a Walker or a Moore, a talented guy, right? That has the ability to win in a game that fits the course, and then drop right back down and grab you another one. Again, I think 4 is the number I'm allowed to put in here together, so I'm not going to go anymore. But yeah, oh bro, I'm telling you, Holmes hurt me in a hedge lineup I had that it crushed except Holmes. So I feel you there, and I'll tell you what, man, that's a struggle every week for me, especially in NFL season. It's even worse in NFL season for me. Going back to the guy that burned you, and it's I almost feel like in DFS, man, it's one of those things you just have to do. You have to do it. You just have to go back to that guy to some degree because for the most part, if your process is good, it was good last week, it's good again this week, and you just got the bad end of variance. And you have to tell yourself that if you believe in statistics and models and the process and long-term stuff, you have to you got to do it. It's just hard to do. But I think this is a better course fit and setup for Holmes. Last week was a lot tougher course, a lot tighter. Holmes can kind of let it go around here, and I think what you get with Holmes, seriously, I think you're getting a $9,000 Tony Finau. Really, they have the very similar game. So, I I don't know. I find Holmes to be an incredible value this week, and I think if you could stack a Neiman and a Holmes, and like for me, I'm gonna grab. I don't think I'll have this lineup core necessarily across my board, but some variation of it with Duncan and Garrigus being the guys that I'm high on, down low, and then Neiman and Holmes along with Henley being the guys I'm high on up top. That's where I'm gonna have my like my variation. Right, I'm gonna differentiate, and sort of mix and match all throughout, those five players. Then I'll fill in the mid range where I like. But like I'm down low, I'm just gonna concentrate my ownership, and just these two guys are either gonna like sink me or take me to the promised land this week, which is really scary with Robert Garrigus, man. I mean, Tyler Duncan, like he's so young. If he misses a cut or whatever, it's like fine. But like Garrigus, there's a long track record of like Garrigus not coming through, like so. As a matter of fact, he's got a cut, 18th, a cut, and a 27th. It's hard to say there's any consistency in Garrigus's game, but it certainly fits on this course. But I think that you can make some pretty nice lineups with some stacks like that. So that's where I'm going to be this week. I don't know, who are you guys on? Anybody? Oh, yeah. Dude, Garrigus needs a putter, man. Have you seen what that guy putts with? It looks like I don't know what it, man, it looks like a tiny little metal block on a like, just like a pole, man. It's a weird looking putter. Weird looking putter, bro. I don't know. I don't understand the whole Robert Garrigus putter thing. The other thing I don't understand about Robert Garrigus is his grill. Bro, you play on the PGA Tour. Like, You could do something about that. That Invisalign thing it's a thing now. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like you would want that fixed. But Tiger's off. I don't know, man. Tiger had a hot putter, didn't he? I tell you whose putter you need to get a hold of is Molinari's, bro. That dude was lights out last week. That was impressive stuff, man. It really was, and that's generally the weakest part of his game. So that was exciting to watch. Actually, it really was. It was a pretty chill Sunday, and I know a lot of big hits too, man. Feinberg had a big hit on his deal. So congrats to him. I think he's like 2 or 3 or 4 winners in a row now. He's just been on fire. I know Gupp has been killing it. A lot of guys, man. A lot of industry guys are notching some big victories. It's fun to watch. I'm hoping to join that list soon, actually. Yeah, punter as well. Punter definitely, dude. Punter, man, on Brooks, that was impressive stuff too. I had some pieces of Brooks and wrote him up and all, but certainly was not driving the train like punter was, man. I think he like bankrupted one dude. Also, fun note: when you have a green screen and you're drinking Stella, you can see right through the bottle. So, all right, what else we got? 8:30. What do we want to cover? Do some other interesting builds, though. If you grab Finau at the top, man, it puts you down to that 7,700 range, and then you really got to find guys you want. So, like, let's say you get down to Duncan again. You're still only getting back to 7,850, and you're leaving a lot of talent on the table to roster a guy that just doesn't seem to be able to close it out, but by all accounts should. So, I don't know. I'm just finding it difficult to get up to Finau. Oh my gosh. I'm finding it difficult to get up to Finau in tons of lineups. I'm definitely going to have him, but I'm just finding it difficult because, I don't know, let's see. If I grab Poston, I found myself grabbing a little too much Lingmerth, by the way, in lineups. Anybody got any opinion on Jaeger? The Hunter, by the way, been playing a little bit better last week. Has shown some really, really low rounds on tour. Not this year, unfortunately. A lot of bad stuff. But on the web.com, he shot a 58. Definitely has the ability when he's on to go low. I don't think I'm going to be there this week. I think that I'm going to side with the string of missed cuts instead of the singular good performance. But somebody to keep an eye on if Jaeger gets any kind of form together. in a weak field, he could certainly go well. But probably not for me this week. Probably not for me this week. But yeah, see, I guess you really have to be committed to a couple of guys really low to make a Finau build worth it. And they just have to hit, and so does Finau. Because again, Fanshare's got him as like the number one tag golfer. He's not going to go under-owned as the top price guy. And if you ask Matt Jones, see, interesting, Matt. I know you're not watching or listening. You're busy doing adult things with family. But interesting note, you were Team Finau. You're always Team Finau. You're 100% Team Finau. And I don't disagree with you with that. But you're also anti most expensive player in the field. And I'm sure this week you're going to have like 80% of Tony Finau. And I just wonder if you find yourself like deeply conflicted doing that. Or if it's just, you can just sort of like turn one off and the other on to like suit your needs. But either way, I know that it's probably difficult for you to roster the most expensive golfer and at the same time it be your favorite man crush. So I'm hoping that you find your way through this week. Let's see. Wondering if Webb's going to be under-owned this week. I'm sure Webb's going to be under-owned this week because it's Webb Simpson and he's $10,700 with way too many popular people around him. Here, let me take that away, and let me go look at it. I will look at Fanshare's back end and see where he is. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. They have him as a top 5. He's tied with several other guys in tags right now in the top 5. I don't know, man. I guess I find it hard to like get behind him because he loses strokes on bent here, and I don't know. He can certainly do it, but he showed signs recently of cracking. So I just kind of figured people would be onto that a little more. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I don't know. I think when it comes down to it, people are not going to be thrilled to roster Webb Simpson based on the guys that are around him. I mean, when you look at it, you've got, I'll clear this out. Like if Tony's going to be heavily owned, like despite it not being a Bubba track, I find like I would imagine the public is going to grab Bubba at 11 over Webb at 10-7, and the sharps are going to grab Henley over Webb. Well, I say the sharps. I mean, there's probably going to be plenty of people just in general on Henley. Maybe the sharps are grabbing Webb, and I mean it makes sense. But I do think Webb goes under-owned compared to the rest of the guys around here. He's not going to be. I doubt you get him at single digit, but you probably get him at like 11 or 12. While the rest of these guys are going to be 15 and up. So, I mean, there's opportunity to be had with Webb for sure. I don't know. When you look at his stats, though, it's a little concerning. And when he's losing the putter a little bit, my God, I'm looking at Fantasy Nationals stuff. Oh my gosh, Henley is going to be just crazy chalky. So is Neiman. Of course, that makes sense, though. I seem to always be on the super chalky guys up top, and then I end up talking myself out of them by the time construction comes, and I take heavier positions on other guys. And this week, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stick to my guys up top, and I'm going to hope that my other guys are differentiated enough. Like I said, I will have some of those pivot positions, but I'm going to concentrate my ownership where I talked about earlier, and yeah, who knows? Probably just burning money like every week because, I mean, statistically, you were supposed to lose. So, all right, let's go a little bit more. See if anybody else has any other questions. Hey, Savannah, can you hear music? By the way, do you hear the music? Since I know you're talking and typing. If you do, is it loud? Is it too loud? Not loud enough? Turn it off, turn it down. You do hear music. Really low though. Okay? Let me see if I can fix that. Sweet. All right. Nice. Okay, cool. Thank you for the help. Got that dialed in there. Like I said, inaugural broadcast, so there will be bugs. There will be issues. We will work through them, and we will prevail. Anyway, let's see. As far as ownership, how... I find myself... Like, Xander seems to be the guy that I think could really be the wild card. Like I said, I see some cracks in Webb's game. I'm not on Phil or Bubba, really, but Xander could certainly be the guy that kind of screws up my whole plan. When you look at DraftKings, you don't see like a really great reason to play him in the last few events. He's just had his missed cuts and then his open performance. And I mentioned this on the podcast a few weeks ago that it seems to me that like Xander has geared his game around preparation for the larger events. And I don't know if that's because he just sees himself in that light, and he won the Tour Championship last year, and he's just big game hunting, and he sees himself as a major champion or a prestigious event, and that's where he's really focused because he knows he can win that event. I don't know, but it definitely seems to me as I watch him at these other events that he just doesn't have it, or I don't know. And you look at these aren't close cut lines he's made either, right? +4, +2, right? A 70. It's just. He hasn't put together great results at these non-majors, but when you get these big events, you got, out of nowhere, cut, U.S. Open, tied for 6th, right? And then just kind of a bunch of garbage. You got your 18th at the WGC big event, Masters, disappointing for him, I'm sure. RBC, doesn't, kind of his course, but, just a mediocre result in a course people thought he'd play well at. Valero, T73. Wells, T72, nothing. Then the Players, tied 2nd. It just seems to me that he's gearing his preparation and just focused on these larger events, and if these other ones fall into place, that's great, but his focus and his preparation is all towards major events. Could I be wrong? Sure. Is he probably going to be fired up to defend? Yeah. But I don't know. I'm not ever a big fan of guys that I'm not ever a big fan of picking guys to defend. It's so hard to win a golf tournament. The statistical odds of it, regardless of what your betting odds are slim. Period. And then, to try and defend is just, I don't even know what the odds are, but I'm just, it's never my thing. So it's just one of those easy decisions I make every week. Could he play well? Sure. I just don't think he's going to win. So I end up off of him, but he's probably worth a few more shares than I'm, kind of talking myself out of. Other than that, guys, I think this is it. Gonna wrap up this broadcast. Gonna be doing more of these each week. Not sure exactly what time, but definitely gonna line up more of these. So any feedback is appreciated. Make sure you follow me at DFS Jimmy. Be tweeting out a few more things as we get closer to lock, and we'll look forward to doing this again next week, guys. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for the support, and good luck this week.